Welcome to Talking Technology with VI Labs. At VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities. If you're looking for the latest news and conversation on tech from a more accessible perspective, you've come to the right place.
Yes, indeed, you have. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talking Technology with VI Labs, episode number 85. We're in June already. It's crazy. We're flying through the year, over halfway through 2025 now. Time stays still for no man, as they say, and it is absolutely true. We are bolting through the year at speed. We'll have the Worldwide Developers Conference from Apple next week, where we are expecting to get all the latest on the new versions of iOS, macOS, all of that. And apparently they're changing the number scheme. There's talks that we won't be getting iOS 19 or watchOS 10 or 11 or anything like that. We will apparently be copying how they do it with JAWS and other products like that. They will be taking the year. So we'll be getting iOS 26 next week. Forget 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 5. Seems like we're skipping a few. We're going straight to 26. So lots of interesting stuff on the horizon. But that is for next week. So do be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts, because we'll be talking all about that next week in due course. But as for today, though, we do have a really cool show coming up for you over the next hour or so. We're going to be catching up with Freek van Welsenis. Freek is one of the co-founders of Hable. We've talked about Hable on the podcast before. They do lots of really cool braille devices and stuff like that. And in recent times, the Hable Easy, which is a new type of device that lets you, I guess, control your phone, but using physical buttons, which is really cool. So we'll be talking to Freek about that in just a bit as well. And we've got voice notes, and we've got the news, and we've got so much more. So do stick with us for the next hour or so. But hey, a reminder that if you would like to get in touch with Talking Technology, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. So there are loads of ways that you can join the conversation. So if you want to jump in, get involved, send us your thoughts, your views on anything that we discuss on Talking Technology, whether it's your views on the news, whether it's your opinions on a new piece of tech you tried. We'd love to hear from you. All you got to do is send us a message on WhatsApp. You can send us a voice note or a message to 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. Or if you would prefer to get in touch with us by email, you can do that too. You can send us an email to content@vi.ie. That's content@vi.ie. So whether you'd like to get in touch with us with WhatsApp or email, either way, we would absolutely love for you to join the conversation. And to go through some of the correspondence that we've had in from the week gone by, I am joined all the way from Kilkenny by Mr. Joe Lanigan. Joe, how are you?
Hi David, I'm good.
Excellent stuff, Joe. You enjoying as a Tipperary man, you enjoyed some football or some hurling over the weekend? You were at some sports, I believe?
Yeah, hurling under 20 All Ireland, and brought my son Luke. He had a great time. He got a few autographs afterwards, and great day and great weather. Yeah, it was brilliant, David.
Super stuff. Excellent. And did you win, Joe? That's the important question.
Yeah, well, they won as well. That makes it even better. So Tipperary won, of course. But look, I won't go on about too much. I don't want to lose any of me pals here in Kilkenny. So we'll great days hurling, and we had a good old day out, and all went well, David.
Good. So, Joe, sports aside, lots of really interesting stuff to dive into this week. We had a few voice notes in. Our first one this week is in from Derry Lawler. You had a really interesting article in the newsletter a week or two ago, Joe, about different podcast apps that people can use, and specifically we were talking about Overcast. But Derry had some comments to share on an app that he uses, and that app is Castro. Here's what Derry had to say.
Hi David and crew, I hope you're all keeping well. It's Derry Lawler here from Dublin. This week you're talking about your podcast client, your favourite app. Well, mine is Castro. And I don't know what it costs a year. I can't remember at the moment, but it's worth it. It has gone through a few changes, bumpy road behind, hopefully all calm now. But it's great. You have an inbox when all your episodes come into, and you can find them all in a list view. And you can skip forward and back by 30 seconds or 15 seconds, or flick up if there's something that doesn't interest you. It does support chapters, so it's great to go into the next chapter for some podcasts who invoke the chapters. But it's a great app. Also, you can do side loading from YouTube videos. It's great, I must say. Now, I think I've had it about 2 years. And there was about early last year, went to a very roughy terrain where the app was totally unusable, and I moved over to Overcast, which would be my other app of choice. But I stuck with Castro, and you can find it on my main home screen now. All my favourite apps are on the home screen. So Castro is definitely one of there. Keep up the good show. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Derry. And it's interesting always for us to find out, what people's podcast apps of choice are. We do get statistics from listenership of Talking Technology on how people listen to this specific podcast, but it's always interesting to know what people are listening on, Joe, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting, actually. That's where we got the inspiration to write the article about Overcast, is because we've seen lots of people were listening to us through Overcast. And we looked into it, and Overcast is an excellent app. But now that Derry mentioned Castro, I've been reading up on Castro. They have had a rocky few years. They were going to shut down, and then they were sold to a company, and now they're back on track again. And Derry made an interesting point there, where you can sideload on other content from YouTube and audio books and conference talks and all that kind of thing. There is a subscription. I think it's a yearly subscription you can pay. It could be something like 25 quid or whatever.
Thereabouts.
But not over the top. A lot for some people as well, though, considering there's so many free podcast apps out there as well. But it's worth it for some people to pay that subscription. The basic version doesn't give you much, as far as I know. Castro is definitely one for people to look out there. And I know Derry wouldn't recommend anything if it wasn't accessible. So thanks for that comment, Derry, and delighted you're listening to us. Anyway, that's the main thing. So I'm glad to get another recommendation of a podcast catcher, or podcatcher, we could say. Apple Podcast is okay. I still veer to that sometimes, just because I'm so used to using it, and you can use some of the Siri shortcuts to play podcasts on it. Derry also made a good point about chapters. It is something we're considering as well. We can get the manpower to get the chapters in. I think people would find chapters useful. So thanks for that comment as well, Derry. We will look into making chapters on our podcast. And I know what you mean. There is some long podcasts out there which you would like to move to a next chapter or an interesting topic. For example, if you aren't interested in the first topic, you might just want to skip to the second chapter or something like that. Yeah, so that's a good idea, Derry.
We'll certainly we'll give it a test drive for this episode at least, and I think we have apparently it's a paid feature, but I think we have like a free trial or something. So we'll give it a test drive for this episode, and see how people find it. I would be very surprised of people wanting to skip any of this podcast, though, Joe.
I definitely wouldn't skip the intro. No way.
No, absolutely not. Do you know, out of curiosity, Joe, if you had to guess our top 3 podcast listening platforms? I pulled it up here, and the bosses might get a little upset with us sharing this, but I think it'll be fine. Do you have any idea what our top 3 are?
Well, I as far as I remember, I know Overcast was one of them, and probably Apple Podcasts, and I have a familiar memory in my head. Downcast, was that somewhere there?
You're close. So Apple Podcasts is, and I think out of convenience, to be honest, it is the biggest one. It's 32% of listenership for this podcast, followed then by Overcast, which has 14%. And I'll give you the clue. The next one, it's not actually an app, but it is a device rather.
Oh, you can speak. You can talk to this device, I reckon, David. Yeah.
No, you can't.
Okay. It begins with V then, yeah?
It does
Victor.
indeed. It's the Victor Reader Stream is in at 9% of our listenership. So there you go. That's some insight for
Very
you
interesting.
there now. Do you know, it is always, I love stats like that. Do you know, it's always interesting to see how people are listening. But who knows, maybe Castro will be making its way into the list down the road. So, Derry, thank you so much for sending in that voice note. Always good to get your perspective as always. So thank you so much for that. Another person who sent us in a voice note is Edvard. And Edvard is talking about some headphones that in an unfortunate turn of events, he didn't win.
Hi guys, so since I didn't win the headphones, I basically ordered them on Amazon. I have to say they're great. I really do enjoy using them. I actually used them yesterday in the gym in Iona Center. It's great that you can hear your surroundings and what's around you while still listening to your music or whatever you may be listening to. And one other thing, when I was ordering them in the Amazon app, it said USB-C, but when I got them, it was actually Lightning. And luckily for me, I still have the Lightning brick from my old Series 3 Apple Watch, so I was using that. But like, I just don't understand why would they still sell Lightning, especially in EU. So that was really strange that it said USB-C, but it was actually Lightning. And it's also one of those that the little cover, you have to open up a little cover to access the charging port. It's not magnetic. But other than that, they're actually really great, and I really do enjoy using them. And a tutor in Iona, when he saw me yesterday using those headphones, he was like, "Oh, so you did win the competition?" I was like, "No, unfortunately I didn't, but I ordered them off Amazon." So yeah, that's the story.
Cheers, Edvard. Yeah, it's funny. No, it can't be a winner every time, Edvard, unfortunately. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. But Joe, we talked about the open ear headphones before. They definitely are gaining popularity, and Edvard seems happy with his pair too.
Yeah, judging by the long, deep breath he took when he mentioned he was purchasing them from Amazon, I think he wasn't too happy about not winning them. But yeah, as you said, you can't win them all, but at least you have a pair now, and they sound like they're a success for yourself. You mentioned something there. It is great that you can hear your surroundings, and I think that's obviously the whole idea of open ear headphones, you know. So for people using Soundscape or walking with your white cane or anything, or working out, as you said, being able to hear around you while you have your headset on, it is brilliant. I think they're after getting a lot more popular as well, these open ear headphones. And some people get problems with their ears when they're using AirPods as well, because they do stick into your ear a little bit. Some people have to sound nice, wax problems, or get semi-deafness and different things with issues with the ones that go right into your ear. So this does reduce the impact of putting something in your ear and your ears aren't covered. So yeah, open ear headphones, brilliant actually. I think I'm going to invest in a set myself eventually. I am happy enough with my AirPods at the moment, but yeah, they're definitely a good spare to have. A Lightning and USB, maybe they sent you one of the leftover batches or something, but I presume it's still the same model that you've ordered. Just unfortunately, he probably got last year's batch or something. That's probably why Lightning was in the box. But that is a strange one. I have to agree, Edward. When you order something that says USB-C, you should have got what you ordered. But it's obviously you're lucky enough you have the cables at home. But yeah, I know what you mean. It is annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, you know, there are serious advantages to the whole idea of those open ear headphones. I was out for a walk yesterday, and I was out with a cane and I was walking along or whatever, and I could kind of hear that there was a someone coming towards me on like a bike or something like that, and I instinctively, like, I couldn't tell exactly what direction they were coming, but I decided instinctively to just move to the side of the path, as one would, rather than staying in the centre. It didn't seem very logical to stay in the centre if there's a bike coming towards me. So I moved to my right anyway, and this bike just continues coming along, and next thing all I hear is left. He just screamed at me just to like move out of the way. I was after completely miscalculation, but thankfully we did not collide. But it is funny, like, just having your ears clear, even when you do have sound access, it's certainly safer, but it ain't foolproof either. There are certainly dangers out there, and it's even with those e-bikes now. It's only going to get more tricky, isn't it?
Well, people, please don't cycle on the footpath is the first thing I'd say. Now I won't have many cycle listeners to this, but cycling on the footpath is illegal. You were probably in the right, David. And
in fairness, it was like a walkway / cycleway. So it was. In fairness, it was just like, no, we were both in the right.
Bit of a shared space then. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Awkward as well. There has been issues in the past. We won't get into debate or discussion about it all, but there has been arguments and issues over shared spaces among blind people, cars, cyclists, you name it. But that's another story. Yeah, but as you said, though, to have your ears open, it's definitely a model for safety. Whether it's open ear headset or not wear any earphones at all at the time when you're walking. Technology is brilliant, but sometimes it can be a distraction as well, so we have to be careful of that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Edvard. Appreciate the voice note as always. And a reminder to people, if you do want to get in touch, you can send us a voice note too. All you need to do, send it to us to 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. And if you want to get in touch with us by email, you can do that too. It's content@vi.ie. That's content@vi.ie. Right though, let's move swiftly on, and thank you, Joe, for that. But let's move swiftly on, shall we? Because last week I caught up with someone who hasn't been on Talking Technology before. I caught up with Freek van Welsenis, who is one of the co-founders of Hable. We've talked about Hable on the podcast before for sure. Hable do lots of really interesting products, including the Hable One and their newest product, the Hable Easy. So here's what happened when I caught up with Freek last week. So joining me now on Talking Technology, I have a guest who has never been on Talking Technology before. We've certainly talked about their products and stuff, but I am delighted to be joined by the co-founder of Hable, Mr. Freek van Welsenis. Freek, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, David.
Thank you for joining us. So, Freek, I guess to start off, for those who haven't heard our podcast talking about Hable before or haven't heard of the product, let's start off with your most common product. But what is the Hable One? And tell us a little bit about the Hable universe, I guess.
Yes, of course. So the Hable One is a Braille keyboard that's connected to a phone or a tablet, and it allows you to type any text on your phone or control your screen reader, so voiceover or talkback. It's a really small product, so it actually fits right in your pocket, and with just 8 buttons, you fully control your phone. So this product, it exists because it came from a personal challenge where my co-founder's grandfather could not work with his phone. He was blind. And so we decided, hey, let's make it a little bit easier to use his phone. And we developed this really tiny, small Braille keyboards that you can use even while you're standing. So that's the Hable One. It really allows you to use the phone in an easier way. And now in the Hable universe, as you call it, we just released the second product, which is called the Hable Easy, which also helps you control the phone with buttons. But instead of using Braille, it's a way more simplified product. So it uses single buttons that are linked to single functions to really, really simplify the use of a screen reader.
That's really cool. And I must say that, we come across people all the time who find things like learning to flick or use the rotor or different things with a screen reader. Some people find that quite difficult. Maybe it's just something that's not natural, or maybe they have, struggles with the coordination of their hands, for example. So I suppose the idea of Hable, it can be quite useful, can't it?
Yes, so indeed, this is exactly what we've seen ourselves. I've done a lot of training, so a lot of training sessions where I teach people to work with a screen reader, mostly with voiceover, and I've personally seen the frustration of some of these gestures. I think the rotor is a really good example. For some people, it's just so frustrating to learn this command and every time go back to it and it doesn't work. And in those scenarios, physical buttons can be a lot easier to work with. It's the same for typing on the phone, right? When you're typing and you have to type in a password or something that has to be very accurate, and you're using the on-screen keyboard, it just can be very frustrating, very slow. Then you have to edit the text after to check it. All these frustrations, for a lot of people, they lead to them wanting to try something else. And then the Hable One or Hable Easy nowadays can be like a really good solution to make it just simpler, to make your life a little bit less frustrating to use the phone.
So how long has Hable been on the market?
So the Hable One has been there since 2022. So 3 years.
Wow.
Yes.
And
yes.
I guess then it's interesting because have you found like the product has it been popular in that time? There's a lot of people use it. You've built a lot of fans.
Yes, I think we have built a lot of fans. When we started, I think really what we've seen is when we started, there was a huge enthusiasm. So there was an initial really big push of people using it. And then after a while, we noticed that it was going down. So not the people that already, but like getting new customers in. So we kind of changed a lot of things to the device software-wise, but also more in the marketing. So how we market the device, how we explain it. And since we did this, we've now already for, I think, almost 2 years in a row, we're still growing every month with the number of new customers we get. So really, that's something I'm most proud of. That really consistently the number of people that are using it is growing, and that we still have a lot of people who are completely new, who hear about it for the first time and really say that it changed the way they use their phone completely. So that's very exciting. It's a thing we're quite proud of.
Do you like I would consider myself at this point a relatively advanced voiceover user. Does the Hable do stuff for those users, or is it kind of more targeting those who struggle to use those flicks and swipes?
Yeah, so when we look at the Hable One is mostly for people who are not as advanced probably as you, David. So the main reasons for people who get the Hable One is first, it's just typing. That they say typing is very frustrating. So you wouldn't necessarily work with the on-screen Braille, so the Braille back. You say typing itself can be frustrating, like dictation doesn't always work. So just typing itself is often a reason why people switch to a Hable One. And indeed, the other reason is more when they struggle with some of the gestures, or the gestures are frustrating. And that is a huge group. So that's very common for people that just using gestures all day. It takes a lot of energy. It's very frustrating to use. The third group, and this is the group that can be more advanced as well, is those who just want to keep their phone more safe. So this is especially common in more people who live in bigger cities. When you're outside and you're walking with your phone and you're using voiceover, it can be a little bit scary because you don't know like who's around you and if someone will take your phone. With the Hable, people keep their phone in their pocket or in their bag, so it's quite safe, and they just have their Hable that they're using. So that is a use case that we see with more of the advanced users why they get a Hable One. And
it looks very much like it. And we'll get to pricing in a minute, but one of the kind of nice things about the Hable is it feels like a quality product, but in a sense it doesn't look expensive. Like it looks kind of like a remote control. So you're not a target if you are going out and using a Hable out and about, which in many respects is quite nice.
Yeah, exactly. So it is really a high quality product. It's like how we design it, the things we put in. It's really, you will feel this like when you use it for the first time. It's also very intuitive. It's very ergonomic. These are all these things that we did to really get a good quality product. But indeed, what you're saying, it looks a little bit like a remote control, like a game controller is a comment I often get when I use it in the train or something. People ask me like, hey, are you playing a video game? And that's helpful. And you also hold it with two hands. So it is very safe and secure when you're using it outside.
So that's the Hable One. What led then to your newer product, the Hable Easy? So what are the differences? What's the same? And how did this come to life?
Yes. So the Hable Easy, first how it came to life is this was really just a request from our users. And it's specifically more the professionals that we work with. So we work with a lot of schools for the blind or rehabilitation organizations for the blind. And they asked us, they said, hey, we really like your Hable One, but we have a lot of clients who lose their vision at a later stage in life. And they just struggle with the gestures on the phone. And it's so frustrating to learn to use a screen reader when even a double tap is hard to do. And it's very frustrating. So they asked us, is there a way to use this as a Hable, so use physical buttons, but way easier? So not a combination of buttons, just a single button at a time. So that was a question that we got from multiple sites, like around the world. Multiple of the professionals asked us. So we started investigating, and it's really a big challenge with just a small combination of functions to still be able to use your entire phone and keep it very intuitive. So we started developing this. We've done a lot of iterations, and that is now what the Hable Easy is. So the Hable Easy is the same hardware as the Hable One, but the software side is different. On the software, each button is a single function. So there's only 8 single button functions on the Hable Easy. So every one button has a single function, and there's a few more advanced ones. But essentially what it allows you to do, for people who really struggle with technology, who struggle with screen readers, it makes it super easy to use a smartphone or a tablet. So it really completely simplifies it, where if I press a single button, I swipe forward. I press a single button to swipe backwards. A single button to pick up a phone call or hang up a phone call. It's really the most simplified way to use a smartphone.
So if I purchase a Hable One, can I switch that can I switch between the two products and vice versa? If I buy a Hable Easy, can I switch that to a Hable One for a day if I need to use it in a certain sense? Or, can you switch between the two?
Yes, so you can switch between the two. And this is something just for us as a company, we said, of course, we don't want to have people that they have to buy 2 devices if they already have one of the two. So it just for us was like an ethical thing. Of course, we're going to allow that. It is good to mention, though, that what we've seen so far, and this is also really how it's meant, that it's very different audiences who use both devices. So Hable One's people who often, they will know Braille, they're a little bit more technical, they already can work a bit with the smartphone, but just want to take it to another level. Whereas the Hable Easy is really for the audience that right now it's near impossible or impossible for them to work with a smartphone and with the screen reader, and they want to just have like a simplified usage. Another thing that's good to mention is that when you order Hable One or an Hable Easy, you do get a different, it is a little bit different what you get. So with the Hable One, it's what we've always had. So the packaging, your Hable One is the same. But with the Hable Easy, you also get some tactile stickers. So these are stickers that are high contrast and tactile. So you can feel them, that you can put on the buttons if you like, to make it a little bit easier to remember what each button does. So it's really an extra indicator to help you out. And there's an audio manual in the box. So if you open your packaging with the Hable Easy, you open it up, it actually starts talking to you.
That's really cool.
And that again is because it's really for the audience that we want to make it as simple as possible to explain you how it works. So that's why we thought, hey, what's like the easiest way to get started? Well, if your packaging just talks to you, there's no easier way than that, we figured.
Yes, I must say, I think everything needs talking packaging. I'm on board. So I suppose then the next logical question, we've had a lot of people who've been fans of the Hable One, and the Hable Easy too sounds like a great product. That will definitely have many use cases. But what's next for Hable? You've now got 2 seemingly successful products on the market. But what's coming next for Hable?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are coming up very soon, but so little that I can actually talk about. But what I can say is, well, for Hable, the next step and where we want to grow and where we want to really add to this market is that we really believe that there's a big need for assistive technology for people with a visual impairment that is a little bit more affordable. That is assistive technology that people can themselves directly purchase that really solves problems. And And that's where we are headed. So there's actually a bunch of products that we are right now working on. Some of them are actually quite close to launching. Some of them are way more early stage. All of these ideas came from our community. So if you are part of any of the Hable newsletters or come on our website, sometimes you have noticed that the last few months we've done so many surveys and questionnaires and interviews with people. That led to a lot of different products that we are now working on. And we're also raising an investment right now to develop these products. And they will all be in the area where it will be quite low in price compared to a lot of other assistive technology, where it solves problems with a form of technology. Unfortunately, I cannot really say what these products will be, but very soon people will hear more about this.
We better be the first to know, Freek.
I can't make promises, David. I can't make promises.
Fair enough. You make an interesting point there about the price. I think the price of Braille in particular is often extremely high. But the Hable, price we always say is relative, but you can get the Hable for, you're not talking over €1,000 here. In fact, you're talking under €500 here.
Yes. So the Hable for us, we really wanted always to be an affordable product. I still think that even we really the pricing right now is like the most affordable points we can do. But I really think that even the next set of products we're launching are likely even going to be below that price. So I think right now the Hable's priced around €200 in Ireland. So we really try to go as affordable as we can, but for the next products, it's likely even going to be a little bit more affordable. And I think that's where we need a lot more of. It's really a thing that a lot of people have asked to have more affordable assistive technology. So I hope we can do it as Hable for the market.
Awesome stuff. And Colin Kenny here on the Vision Ireland team has asked me to mention, and so we should, that we are now here in Vision Ireland a distributor for Hable products, so you can order those on the website on vi.ie, but the Hable One and the Hable Easy, and they're really cool products, and the pricing for all of those can be found on our website as well. But I suppose, Freek, there's a lot to like about what you guys are doing. How important is it to have, I suppose, affordable assistive technology in the home, rather than these like really expensive devices that we've seen before?
So I think it's really a key thing. And there's a couple of reasons for it. I think one of the things that I've learned in the last 6-7 years that I've been more active in this domain is that a lot of the products that are funded by people, so that are more expensive products and they're funded, often they end up not being used or not being used actively, because on one side people are a little bit afraid that it gets damaged because they're so expensive, or they just got them through a funded route and then they actually didn't need them. Whereas if it's a product you yourself buy, there's more ownership, you also know you can afford it, it's more in the range where you can actually use the product. And there's a lot of countries around the world where there is no option to get something through a health insurance or government funding or any of these routes. And there's still a lot of problems that people have that technology should be able to fix. So for those regions, there's a big need for more affordable assistive technology. And what I really hope is that when we as Hable set an example that it is possible to make products that are in a lower price range and that it can work for a business, that more companies will follow. I really hope that is a new trend that we can start in this industry.
Awesome stuff. Freek, I suppose the final question then for now is where can people go to find out more about Hable and what you guys do?
Yes, so you can find out more on our website. This is imhable.com. Or if you Google Hable, you will also find us on the website itself. We have a lot of social media channels and newsletter, but the website really is the main point of finding us. And now you can also find us through Vision Ireland.
Brilliant stuff. Where did the name Hable come from?
So Hable comes from the Spanish hablar, or speaking, because we want to connect people, give them a voice, and able, of course, enable people to do more. So that's where the name comes from.
There you have it. Well, Freek, thank you so much for joining us on Talking Technology. I know you can't make promises, but I do still expect you'll be joining us again soon when you do have new products to share. But for now, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, David. I really enjoyed it.
And there you have it. That is Freek van Welsenis, one of the co-founders of Hable. Some really interesting stuff there. I think it's really cool to have assistive technologies entering the market at that lower cost. And they've certainly developed a lot of fans with devices like the Hable One, which we've spoke about on the podcast before, and the newer Hable Easy, which is also proving really popular. And someone who has been trying out the Hable Easy is Miss Mairead O'Mahony from our Braille team. Mairead, how are things?
Good, David. Thank you. How are you?
Really good, thanks. So, Mairead, you've tried both the Hable One and the Hable Easy. You can switch between the two. Freek mentioned that there as well. But how do you find the products, and how easy is it to switch between them?
Okay, well, perfect. So, yeah, I have, I suppose my main use would be the Hable One because I'm a Braille user. And I suppose the benefit and the beauty of the Hable Easy is you don't need to know Braille to use this. So it's straightforward enough to switch between them. If you have a fairly new Hable, like in the last maybe year or two, if you just press the all 6 dots together, so dots 1 to 6, and you'll hear a vibration, it'll bring you into the Hable menu, and then really quickly after, if you press dots 5 and 6 together, so if you hold those, it will bring you into the Hable Easy mode. It doesn't say anything or anything, you'll just know by the vibration that you get. So you'll know you're in the Hable Easy mode. For example, if you press 1, that will bring you to, it'll launch Siri or Google on your phone and you can talk to it. So that's how you'll know you're in there then. And if you press, let's just say, for example, it's all based on like keys, for example. So if you press, we'll say dot 4, it could bring you into the phone book. Dot 3 could bring you into Spotify or something like that. So that is kind of the way the Hable Easy would work. So it's pretty good like that. You don't need to know your Braille dots or anything. You'll just go by the buttons. So it's like your Perkins Braille style keyboard. You have your dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you have your 2 long keys, one at the left and one at the right side, which is dot 7 and dot 8. So when you're thinking of the buttons all the time, you'll just go button 1 on the left, button 3 on the left, or button 4 on the right. And if you just go around with all them, then you'll know. So like another button will navigate you forward in the menu. Another button will navigate you backwards in the menu. So it's really good like that. And then, of course, the dot 8, the long key, you'll be able to distinguish it. We'll actually open it for you then. So no, it is quite good. And then once you're in the Hable Easy mode and you want to switch back to, we'll say, the Braille mode, you can go into that by pressing all 6 dots together again. So that's 1 to 6. So you press and hold those, and then you press and hold dots 1 and 5, which is the letter E. So think of that for English maybe, and that'll bring you back into the normal Braille mode that you would use for typing, again, for typing in Braille.
Super stuff.
Yeah. So I suppose the only thing to say is if your Hable is older, so maybe if you have it with 5 or 6 years, and if the version of firmware you have installed in it is a little older, you will need to you'll need to download the Hable app onto your phone. Well, that's going to be needed in any case anyway, because that's used for all Hable updates. And you'll need to install a Hable toolbox onto your laptop. Well, not install it, it's just a link that you click on. And you'll need to just update your device through that. It's just, you open up the link, you connect it to the USB cable. It'll ask you to download the file, and you just open up the link then, and let it run, and then it'll install that onto your computer. And then once that's done, you'll need to go into the Hable app, and then you can pick Hable Easy Jan 2025 or something like that from there when you go into experimental updates and then firmware, and you can pick that from there. And once you go into it, then you'll be able and activate that. It'll install that, and you can just switch between the two modes then.
Awesome
straightforward.
stuff.
But if you have a new Hable, you won't need to do that.
Brilliant. I do want to ask, you're clearly really passionate about Braille, as many people are. Does it worry you a little bit when you see companies like Hable that have to this point been, I suppose, specifically focused on Braille, focusing now a little bit on other things? Or are you more like, well, this will benefit a lot of people, even if it isn't traditional Braille as you know it?
Yeah, so I'd be inclined to go with the second option there. I think, everything has its place. For anyone that wants to use the Braille mode, you have the option there, and you can still do everything using that, like everything from unlocking your phone to navigating to writing, everything using that. And then it's catering for anyone else as well, would say, who doesn't have, the Braille skills or whatever, and they might just have difficulties with, using touch screens or even trying to remember a lot of buttons and things. It's a more user-friendly interface for some people as well to have it this way. And I'm not worried, I guess, that the Hable is going this direction. I think it's good because it's catering for both. Once they keep expanding both options, it's great. And I suppose, there's always new innovations coming out on Braille as well. I mean, take Apple, for instance. Now they're very big on the Braille screen input. And, hopefully we'll get more releases from them as well during, as the year goes by, on turning your iPhone or iPad or whatever into, a Braille note taker, which would be good as well, being able to do everything using that in Braille. So, I think Braille is constantly being innovated, and, there's always new things coming out, which is good.
Brilliant stuff. Mairead, thank you so much, as always. Really interesting to see where the Hable is going, where Braille technology in general is going. And thank you so much for that. A reminder to people that if you do have thoughts on the Hable, on any Braille technology in general, or any technology at all for that matter, you can send us a WhatsApp voice note on 086 199 0011, or you can send us an email with your thoughts if you'd like to do it the good old-fashioned way, content@vi.ie. But now, though, it's time to cross it to Talking Technology News.
This is Talking Technology News.
So, with your Talking Technology News, I'm Daniel Dunn. Aira have announced a new partnership with Google to create a new AI visual interpreter called Astra, capable of taking real-time calls. Astra will apparently be instant, neutral, and high quality. While it won't be able to work with navigation immediately, it will be able to provide assistance with a wide variety of visual tasks. The move follows from Aira's Build AI program, where users consented to share their calls with a partner for the creation of a new AI model. We now know that partner was Google, and that the project being worked on was Project Astra. The Build AI free minutes promotion is winding down later this week, and users are now able to sign up for a waiting list for Project Astra. While in the test phases, all calls will be monitored by a human, with Aira saying every Aira AI call is monitored by a trained human interpreter. They'll step in immediately if something seems off, and if you ever feel unsafe or need a different kind of attention, you can request them at any time. Aira focuses on this trained human aspect, unlike services like Be My Eyes, who uses volunteers. The existing Aira photo description tool allows you to verify a function where a human will check and confirm any AI response. This is very useful in cases where you can't afford to have AI cause an error. Time will tell if Aira's Astra program will make its way to Ireland soon, But between Meta, OpenAI, and others, the future is looking bright for live AI visual interpreting. In exciting news for those with low vision, WhatsApp has launched on iPad. While users were always able to access WhatsApp on iPhone or through Android tablets, the app was notably absent for those using Apple's iPads. By the nature of iPad's bigger screen, you can now use WhatsApp with much larger text sizes, images can be bigger, and everything works well with VoiceOver. You still need a phone to access the feature, as WhatsApp uses a phone number by default, but you can be signed on in multiple devices at once. When signing up, you scan a QR code using your phone in a similar way to how things work for WhatsApp Web. After that, the app is very similar to the standard iOS app with tabs and controls on the left and conversations on the right. Remember that you can adjust the text size on a per app basis in accessibility settings, so if you just want larger text in WhatsApp, but not in other apps, this is absolutely possible. Why not send us a voice note from your iPad to let us know what you think of the new feature? And finally for now, Glide is on its way to the Wayfinding Centre this Saturday. Glide is a new mobility aid that aims to disrupt the status quo by providing some competition for the traditional cane and guide dog. The device has a handle on top with a base on wheels at the bottom which rolls along in front of the user. The idea is that the device will be able to guide the user around obstacles, and it will also be able to help them maintain a straight line. The device was originally set to launch in 2025, but it now has been delayed until 2026. Some users have already pre-ordered the device, but Saturday marks the first time the device will be publicly demoed in Ireland. If you'd like to sign up to attend, you can find a link to the Glidance website in the past few editions of our Tech on Tap newsletter. Hopefully, we'll meet some of you there. Remember, if you are attending, be sure to tell everyone that Talking Technology is your favourite podcast. And that's it for now. If you have thoughts on any of these stories or want to share a story of your own, please feel free to send us an email at any time to content@vi.ie. But for now, though, it's back to you, David.
Thank you, Daniel. I must ask you, Daniel, because you'll see this device, or you'll be able to see this device online, or have seen it, I'm sure. What do you think of even the look of this whole Glide device? Because it's been creating a lot of hype for people.
Yeah, visually it looks slick, so it does, I think. I guess, it's like just the front part of a child's scooter, perhaps, with two wheels, and but the curves, the design, the colors, everything about it, it is actually stylish. I will say that.
Fair enough. Joe, they did announce there a week or two ago, Amos Miller, who is the founder and CEO of Glidance, formerly of the Microsoft Soundscape team. They announced that they were delaying the device because they were doing some significant reworking to the hardware. Does this, how do you prefer that they kind of wait and get it right, or do you think this is going to annoy a few people? Because there's been mostly positive but mixed reactions online on the same.
Yeah, Amos is a very innovative man, and I suppose he doesn't want to release something that's not the finished product. And the reason they held it up was from a test feedback or user feedback from some of these shows that they have demonstrated it at. So from listener feedback or whatever you want to call it. But I suppose there are case studies and stuff like that. People had a lot to say about the product, and they're after taking some of that into taking that in, and they're going to make changes, hardware changes. So the product will probably look a lot different from when they actually started out. it'll be very interesting to see what they do actually change. There has been issues with steps and things like that, and people are wondering how is this going to cope with steps? Will you have to carry the device down? Will it have a function like a track? Will it track its way down steps or whatever? But so it's going to have its issues, its teething problems. And look, he's better off to push it out rather than releasing it early and having the device turn into a flop, which, if it did have too many issues at the start, that's what will happen. So Amos is better off to get this right first time and then develop it upwards, if you know what I mean, rather than start on the bumpy road and never get over it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like one of these things. I tried the device when over at Side Village in the UK, and it was, and I think they'd admit this themselves, like it was very much a prototype at that stage. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes. Amos has said it in many emails now to their user base that they want to get the device to a point where someone can feel confident leaving their traditional mobility aid at home. And I think that is going to be, because it's pointless having a glide if I still need to take out my cane at a certain point or whatever. I think that defeats the purpose.
That's it, David. I mean, you're not going to be able to carry two mobility devices if you have this one with you, Another thing is you have to make sure that it's going to stay charged for the full amount of time that you need it, whether that be a full day or full 3 hours or whatever it is. Or alternatively, you have to be able to charge the device if that's what it takes somewhere. So I don't know. Look, it's one of these things. It's a big idea. It's an ambitious plan, and I'm hoping it works out. There is a lot of people out there that are pinning their hopes to this, have paid, I suppose, deposits, and they were hoping it would come out in September 25, but that's obviously nearly put off by at least 9 months or something. So I wouldn't hold my breath to say it'll definitely be released next year, but we'll hope that the finished product makes it to that new set deadline.
Absolutely. Time shall tell. And a reminder that if people do want to try the Glide device, you can do so at the Wayfinding Centre in Dublin. It's their first time that they're publicly demoing the device in Ireland, and you can find full details of that both in the Tech on Tap newsletter. It's been in there for the past 3 weeks or so. So if you have any of those recent emails, you can find it in there. Or you can go to the Glidance website, and their Dublin Demo Day is coming up this Saturday the 7th of June. So do pay us a visit. It will be really interesting to hear people's perspectives on the device, and also to hopefully have Amos and the team answer some of people's questions as well, which would be really, really cool. So time shall tell on that. Another story that's in the news there this week, WhatsApp launching on iPad. Daniel, I have on numerous occasions been working with your good self setting up WhatsApp on Android tablets for people. But now we might not have to do that now because it's available on the iPad side as well.
That's true, yeah. Welcome to the 21st century, WhatsApp users on iPad. Finally, it's great to see it. Make the leap. Obviously, for bigger text, being able to see images on a bigger screen surface, certainly great for our audience. That they're able to do this, and there is another phenomenon that's going on. Some people are going back to what we call dumb phones. We call them smartphones and the old button phones and things like that. And some of the real basic ones don't support WhatsApp. So it's nice to be able to maybe keep your social media on your tablet and just take out a small phone with you when you're out and about. So it is facilitating that as well. There is a move in some quarters for people, to ditch the smartphone and maybe just keep their social media and tablets at home, and that way they're not as distracted throughout the day.
That's a good point, Daniel.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
David. Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, there is a big move towards that dumb phone trend, if you know what I mean. So I think phone addiction is becoming a massive problem actually at the moment. So I suppose, well, will it be tablet addiction now if they move WhatsApp over to the tablet? But screen addiction, then we'll call it. But I think, it definitely makes sense to have WhatsApp on a bigger screen for anyone with low vision. If you want to watch your videos of your grandkids or any videos for that matter, or even read your messages in a proper bold print in high contrast on an iPad, it's just going to look great, really, isn't it? Especially for anyone that has invested even in an iPad Pro or something, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look great.
Yeah, and also a nice thing about it is, like, for those iPad users out there who have a Magic Keyboard or an Apple Pencil, it's compatible. So you're able to use those accessories within the app as well. You can also have split view, so you can keep an eye on WhatsApp messages coming in, while you're doing something on another app as well. So you can multitask as well. So it's fantastic. I think it's good, and the fact that it's fully compatible with VoiceOver, for VoiceOver, VoiceOver users will really appreciate that as well. So
absolutely,
I think it's all good. Good news. Well done, WhatsApp, and great to see you coming across. Coming across onto the iPad. We did mention in there that you can set the text size bigger through the per app settings, but also in the WhatsApp menu, it does give you 3 settings for font sizes in the chats options menu. So you can also adjust the text there too as well.
Good job. Awesome stuff. It's, as you say, them definitely coming to the 21st century. It took some time. But it is interesting, that whole idea of leaving the phone behind. Unfortunately, you do still need the phone number to have a WhatsApp account connected and stuff like that. And you have to scan the code on a phone and all of this sort of stuff. But once it's set up, it's actually really nice,
Yeah. Yeah, like to be fair now, there is plenty of service users out there who I've worked with in the past. They might have the Doro flip phone. They're a very popular phone. They love keeping those phones, but they'd love the WhatsApp as well. And this means, if they have an iPad, the WhatsApp can go there, and you can still use your existing, Doro flip phone. Use that number just to get the text in, and that's all that's ever really needed is when you log into WhatsApp for the first time, it texts your phone a 6-digit code, and that just needs to go in to complete the setup. So, it's fantastic. I think it's great job.
Awesome stuff. So that is WhatsApp for iPad. Lots of interesting stuff in the tech news this week. And a reminder, of course, that if people would like to play around with WhatsApp on an iPad, you might as well send us a voice note while you're over there. The number that you need, 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. But hey, that is about our lot for this episode of Talking Technology. Thank you so much for listening. Really hope you enjoyed the show today. A reminder that if you would like to check out any of our VI Labs training courses, we've got loads of stuff going on. We've also got bite-sized clinics, bite-sized training, all sorts of stuff coming up over the next little while. And the best way to stay up to date with all of that is to visit the upcoming events section of our website. So go to vi.ie, go to upcoming events, and you will see not just all of the upcoming technology courses, but for the entire organisation, all of the stuff that is happening right across Vision Ireland. So do be sure to keep an eye on that page. Because there's always a lot going on around here, and you don't want to be missing out. But for now, though, thank you so much for listening. We'll have some extra episodes over the next little while around WWDC and other things too, so do be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And for now, we will see you then. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next week for another episode of Talking Technology with VI Labs.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Technology podcast with VI Labs. If you'd like to support our show, please visit vi.ie/donate. Talking Technology is proudly sponsored by IA Labs, the market leader in digital accessibility services. IA Labs, digital inclusion, your legal obligation.